Well, everybody, I'm back, and you better put your seatbelt on. We got a baller in the house today. We're going to be enriched and blessed. My very special guest is Reverend Coach Greta Counts. Coach Greta is a born leader. She's a gifted teacher. She's a licensed Louise Hay Heal Your Life coach. She is uniquely trained to help others move to a high level of awareness and vibration so that they can really find out who they are. She is a minister at Atlanta Unity South, and that's where I go on Sunday mornings when I am not teaching and sit at her feet. She is the author of Mirror Work Works, a 21-day self-love experience. You see, I have it right here. All of my clients use her book. And she's going to talk to us today about how our self-talk creates our reality and how mirror work works, or doing the mirror work will really change our stories and help us to create a new reality. On a personal level, we have become friends, and it's a good feeling. She's a gift to me. We can talk about anything. We can brainstorm. We could be authentically who we are. We push each other. I think I sort of pushed her to write a book. I'm like, girl, you are too brilliant. Let's get a book out here. And so, just so blessed and honored. So, I want you to open up your heart, open up your spirit to receive from Minister, Coach, Dr. Reverend, Coach Greta. So, Coach Greta, welcome back to the Law of
Thank you.
Attraction Radio
Thank you
Network.
so much for having me here. It's always a pleasure to be in your presence, Constance Arnold. And I am actually so very proud of the work you've been doing with the Law of Attraction Radio Network. You've been on for how many years now?
15 years, child. 15
Yes,
years.
celebrating 15 years. And I think
Yeah.
that is just so powerful. You've interviewed so many amazing people, and I'm just so honored to be one of those people. So thank you for having me.
So if you're watching this, you can see Coach Greta got it going on with her outfit. So whenever we have lunch, I have to up my game because I don't never know how she's gonna come. But she has the wisdom of God. And the interesting thing is whenever we're together, we both bring our notebooks
Yes,
because
we
we
do.
know that
Yes.
one of us is going to say something. And
Yes.
so I'm gonna let you just take over, Coach Greta. We said we were going to talk a little bit about how our self-talk creates our reality, and then how your mirror works will really help them.
Yes. Well, self-talk, when you mentioned self-talk to me, I thought, wow, what an awesome topic because everybody does it, whether they know it or not. We
Mhm.
all have a voice, and we all have a voice that we use in our heads. And we all have an inner voice that's always talking to us, whether we are aware of it or whether we're unaware of it. And so I was even thinking this morning as I was getting dressed about the fact that when kids are little, they have a habit of talking out loud to themselves. And back in the day, they would say that the psychologist and the therapist would say, as long as you don't talk to your, and now they don't say that anymore because what they
Mm.
know is that we all talk to ourselves. We all
Yeah.
use our own voice to say things to ourselves, and self talk is happening whether we're aware of what we're saying to ourselves or whether we're not. So I'm just happy that you raised this topic about self talk.
Yeah, and their scientists are saying 95% of the stuff that we are thinking and saying to ourselves every day, which is what our subconscious is, that we don't even know it's on autopilot. So we don't know we're even saying stuff like you're not good enough, you can't do that. And your book just really helps to reverse that. And we're just always saying stuff and oblivious to it.
Yes. I was thinking too that I consider my book, Mirror Work Works, a must read. But when
Mhm.
I wrote the book, I was thinking that I wanted it to be a book that people experience, not just a book that people read.
Yeah.
And the goal was for when you're reading those words on the page to yourself, you're hearing yourself say those affirmations, that growth work at the end of every chapter. And, the idea was to inspire people to say those words in a mirror and to hear the sound of their own voice.
Mm.
So, self talk and mirror work and self love all go hand in hand.
Yeah, we were talking about self-love the other day, and I
Yeah.
was telling Greta there have been times in my life when I have been very self-confident, but my self-worth, I thought I was on top of it, but my self-worth was not. And so that has been something that I've really had to pray about and ask the Spirit to help me with. So when you're doing that mirror work, that really shifts and changes that whole self-worth identity thing.
Absolutely. It really does. It means that you are building this relationship with the most important person you will ever meet, ever, is yourself. And
Mm.
when you and yourself are in alignment about who you are, whose you are, and you are honest with yourself about what you know to be true, when you are being your authentic self, wow, I mean, your self worth is through the roof.
Yeah. So let's talk about mirror work works. And as I said, y'all see I got my copy right here. If you're watching this and all of my clients, and then I want you to give us some examples from the book of what that would look like. Take listeners through an actual exercise of what that would look like. So
Okay.
why does mirror work works?
Wow, what a awesome question. Mirror work works because we all were created in the image and after the likeness of God, right? Or the
Mhm.
creator, or however people want to refer to their higher power. And that's all well and fine. But what I think people often forget is that we are the reflections of the Most High. One of the affirmations that I like to say is, I am the indwelling house of the Most High. And I think if we really understood that we are the indwelling house of the Most High, and when we're doing our mirror work, we would have to learn to respect ourselves, to be kind to ourselves, to be gentle to ourselves, to be patient with ourselves, to reverence ourselves. All of those things, the reason mirror work works is because it is awakening you to the God presence within yourself. That's why it works.
That's profound. So we forget that. We forget how powerful we are, how awesome we are, and sometimes judge ourselves, critical of ourselves, make choices beneath who we really are.
Yes. And you know why we forget that? Is because someone has used their voice, oftentimes when we were children,
Ooh,
to influence our voice. And then the voice we hear the words that someone may have told us that we're not good enough or whatever it is, but we hear it in the sound of our own voice. So the self talk is oftentimes some talk we've heard someone else talking about in reference to us, and then we have taken those words and applied them to ourselves.
ooh, that's good. Y'all see what I'm talking about, don't you? So Coach Greta, what about do our experiences create self-talk and talk to us?
Absolutely. So something happens in life, and we tell ourselves with our voice, we assign a label to it. It was good, it was bad, and then we decide from some incident in life that every time something happens, then it's that, which may definitely not be the case. It does not mean in the future that it's something that's bad. Like, a good example is if someone has to go through a divorce, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but we may feel some kind of way about it, and we may use our languaging to tell other people about it in a way that seems like it's something negative. and we allow it to become our negative self identity.
Mm.
So, self talk, self identity is interrelated. How we identify with ourselves, judge ourselves, as you said, criticize ourselves, guilt ourselves, or shame ourselves, then we're having this inner dialogue that's beating us up and beating us down. I think a lot of us have verbal abuse with
Oh,
ourselves.
mm, that's
Yeah.
profound. That's nothing but the truth. Speaking of experiences, I remember when I went through a breakup with a guy that I was
Mhm,
supposed to marry. I had to make a decision in this moment.
mhm.
In that moment, I would not allow this experience to close my heart down, to
Yes.
not be open to love. So I had to name it, define it, and so
Yes.
my self talk aligned with I am open to love.
Yes. I am open to love. What a beautiful, beautiful affirmation, positive affirmation to say to yourself with that having happened. That's beautiful.
So before we get into the actual book, tell me a little bit about how you personally have had to use mirror work in your own life.
Oh my goodness. I have used mirror work for everything. Like, and I didn't even know that I had been doing that until with every client, I was requiring it of every client, whether it was a business client, an executive client, it didn't matter. Mirror work was always has always been an integral part of the exercises that we do. And one day I asked myself, why am I so determined about the mirror work? And it's because I do it. I
Mhm.
started doing it that when I can remember, I started doing it, I was about 5 years old.
Wow.
And I started doing it at 5 years old because I was an only child. And I didn't have imaginary friends like a lot of only children do. But I did have this friend in the mirror, is what I used to call her. And so if I went to school, because I had to go to school by myself, I didn't have a big brother or a big sister. So whenever I had to go to a new school, it was me. And I had to use certain courage to be there. And so before we leave for school, I would get in the mirror and I would say, "Oh, I cannot wait to see you when school is over. I want you to tell me all about your new friends, your teacher." And then I couldn't wait to get home to get back in the mirror and say, "Oh, my teacher's name is Miss England. And, I met a really nice girl today named Elizabeth." So I didn't know it, but I was developing this friendship with this person in the mirror that was myself. And I learned to trust myself. It gave me this confidence. People
Mhm.
always describe me as a kid as confident and all of that, but I didn't really know where it was coming from, but it was definitely coming from mirror work. And then I used it through my divorce. I used it before I got married. I used it when I was in college. I used it when I became a parent. Sometimes I cried in the mirror by having twins, and it was a lot of pressure and stress to
Mhm.
love two children, same age at the same time. And I would just have these um, times in front of the mirror with my box of tissues when I would literally um, console myself, cry with myself, congratulate myself.
Mhm.
And then when I got a Mary Kay, I was doing mirror work 3 times a day for hours. In the morning, it was about 2 hours in the morning, about 2 hours at night, and an hour in the middle of the day. I was
So
doing
give
about
s- so give us an example because y'all, she was a big deal in Mary Kay, made all the money, was a baller, all of that. So give us an example of what you might do, maybe for somebody in business. What would you do in the mornings when you were
in
in Mary Kay? Just
yes,
a
in
quick
the
example.
in the mornings, I would get in front of the mirror
Hmm.
and I would look at myself. I would tape my papers to the mirror so I could be looking forward. I didn't have to
Okay.
keep looking down and looking up and looking down. And I would say to myself when I first joined that I was a top sales director, that I was a Cadillac, that I was Greta Cadillac counts. I mean, I would just say these things every day. And I remember when I got a call from the company when I won my second car. My first car was a Grand Am. You win the Grand
Mhm.
Am first. And then I got a call shortly after saying that I had earned the use of a pink Cadillac. And I was like, I didn't really understand what spiritual tools I had been using and how they were working. But
Yeah,
it was
that's
really working.
powerful.
And I'd stand in that mirror and I would affirm, 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 and I would just go in and say all kinds of things. I'll give you an example of something that I've
Okay.
written. There's something that I say every day now. It says, I am inspired by my spiritual awakening. I am guided and aligned by my innermost spirit and desire. The die has been cast. I have stepped over the line. My decision has been made. I'm a disciple of the determined. I won't look back, let up, slow down, back away, or be still. My past is redeemed. My presence makes sense. My future is secure. I am finished and done with low living, small planning, dull dreams, tame visions, mundane talking, cheap giving, and dwarf goals. I now live by faith, lean on my strengths, walk by patience, am lifted by prayer, and labor by love. My pace is set, my date is fast, my goal is real, my road is narrow, and my way is plain. My companions are few, my God is reliable. My mission is clear. I cannot be bought, diluted, turned back, lured away, or delayed. I will not flinch in the face of sacrifice, hesitate in the presence of procrastination, negotiate at the table of fear, or ponder at the pool of popularity, or meander at the maze of mediocrity. I won't give up, shut up, let up until I've stayed up, stored up, and prayed up, and become the person that God intended me to be. What I think about, I bring about. So you look out and have no doubt, because when I am committed, there's no looking back, and I soar to greatness. And so it is.
I'm getting ready to drop the mic if I had one. Wow. I you know something? I could tell that that's in you. That
Yeah,
came from your spirit. That's who you are.
yeah,
And wow, I felt that.
yes,
And so everybody who's listening, you notice how much she said, I am, I am, I am,
yes,
I
yes,
am. How many
yes,
times you said that? That
yes,
is so powerful. So you're
yeah.
really prophesying your own life when you speak that every day.
Oh my gosh, let me tell you, I am the prophetess of my life. And when I had that awareness, I was like, wow. So it is, people like to say from my mouth to God's ears, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, wow, like every single thing. I remember I wanted a house, and my daughters, like, let's get a house. And so we just started doing affirmations. And it was 3 days later, somebody called me and was like, hey, I got this house, are you interested in it? And that's when they were younger. I mean, we just every single thing, everything I have. And the truth is, everybody is using self-talk to create their lives, but sometimes we're not creating what we want. So we
Mm-hmm.
want to believe that we didn't bring that into our lives. And so it's always happening. And sometimes this is something I think is really important to understand about self-talk. Sometimes it's best to be quiet.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so true. That's
Yes.
nothing but the truth. This is so good. So I want you to take us experientially, maybe through one or two of your chapters and tell us what we should be doing. I don't have a mirror, but so I'm going to be looking into the camera and
Mm-hmm.
tell us exactly what we are doing and what's
Okay.
happening on the inside of us. Everybody, this book, I've had some of my clients say, "Oh, I couldn't do I couldn't do day 10. It was too much. It was too much truth."
Yes.
So,
Yes. So funny, I turned to day 11, which is worthiness.
wow.
Yeah, worthiness. And it says, Happy Self Love Day. Welcome to day 11 of the 21-day self love mirror work experience. The energizing focus of the day is worthiness. And so I always talk about the energizing focus of the day because I want anyone reading, the reader, to give energy to this word because we know that where our attention goes, energy flows.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
when you put your attention on prosperity, you get prosperity. When you put your attention on worthiness, you get worthiness. And I think what a lot of people do is they don't know how to direct their attention.
mhm.
So, right out the bat, I'm directing you to an energizing focus of the day. So that, and what my intention is that by you having this energizing focus of the day, and then I go on to talk a little bit about worthiness, and I might share a personal experience, but then at the end of that there's a growth work exercise, and in that growth work exercise I'm giving you the idea to tune in and listen up, and then I give you affirmations. Today I accept that I am worthy of all good. I believe I am a good person who deserves good things. And I say more, my self worthiness is a result of how I see myself. My self worth and value comes from within me. What I think about myself is what determines how worthy I feel. And I'm giving everybody an opportunity to speak those into existence. And what my prayer is and my intention that I've set is that as you go about your day, you will suddenly experience that. Somebody might offer you to have lunch, treat you to lunch, as you did the other day
I
when we went
did.
out to, yeah, you treated me to lunch. And that was, so if my focus of the day was worthiness, then somebody showed me how worthy I was. They demonstrated it. And they demonstrated it because one, I had given my attention to it, and two, I had the opportunity to take my mirror. I got all sizes of mirror. This
Okay.
this little mirror came from when my girls were little. They had a dollhouse, and this mirror was in the dollhouse, and I love this mirror, so I kept it. But in the mirror, you're looking into your own eyes, and you are having the opportunity to affirm, just like I did earlier when I told you how I would do when I was in the mirror. I do it every
Mhm.
morning, but that is what is happening, you
And
know.
so Coach Greta, people they have their mirror and then a lot of people say, well, affirmations don't work or affirming doesn't work or validating is not working for me. What would you say around that?
Great question. I once had a client from Philly, and she came highly recommended to me. And she came to me because she wanted to lose weight. That was her focus, and that's what we were working on. And she told me day one that she didn't think affirmations work. And she said, but I'm willing to give it a try. I said, hey, nothing beats a failure but a try.
Mhm.
So we started working together. I think we got to maybe week 4. And she said to me one morning, we used to do these 5 o'clock in the morning things because she had work and kids and a husband and all that. And she said, I don't want to do this anymore because affirmations don't work. She said, not only have I not lost weight, I've gained weight.
Mm.
Not only has such and such happened, but this has happened. And not only, and she went down this whole list, and she was I don't want to say she had a PhD. So she was a very intelligent woman, to say the least. And I said to her, you know what? The one thing I want to leave you with is that affirmations do work because you have been consistently affirming that not only were you going to not lose weight, you were going to gain weight. She told me that day one.
Mm.
Everything she had told me was not going to happen didn't happen. And what I explained to her was, this is how you know affirmations work. They work because it gave you exactly what you were believing for. So they do work. You cannot say that you're going to lose weight, that you're not going to lose weight and not lose weight. She was using it, and she was using her words against herself. Let's just say it like
Yeah,
that.
that is so true. And so I love in your book, you said you want people to experience it because when you're saying those affirmations, you're using words, emotions, and when you say the last one you just read, I am worthy, I mean, you see it in your mind. So all of those senses are being utilized, would you say?
I would say that. And let me tell you this, it is imperative. When I think back specifically to my Mary Kay days, I got up every day and I had to block out time because I started out with like a paragraph, and then I started out with a second page and then a third page, and I ended up like 10, 12 pages. So I could be in the mirror for an hour of my day using affirmations. But let me tell
Mhm.
you, me doing that repetitively, because we repetitively tell ourselves we're not enough.
Yeah.
We repetitively tell ourselves that we should be ashamed of something. We
Mhm.
repetitively tell ourselves we're not, we criticize ourselves and we show anger. When people lose their keys and they can't find their keys or they can't find their purse or they can't, whatever it is. And then what we have the audacity to do is use our own words to condemn ourselves for something.
Yeah.
And every time we do that, the universe says, yes, okay. She says, I can't find my keys. So you're not to find your keys saying you can't find your keys, you
You know,
know?
yeah, that's so powerful, and I think I love what you said. We have to remember the Bible says we're Elohim. We're actually God, and scientists say that we respond to our own talk, our own inner ear responds to what we say. So if you say, I told a client, don't ever say I'm fat.
Mhm.
Because the energy of that and the vibration of that. But when you say I am a great businesswoman, your
Yes.
I amness goes out into the universe and begins to bring that to you.
Absolutely. And it works like clockwork. And if we could just learn that. The other day I was listening to something on YouTube or whatever, and I
Mhm.
heard someone in the tech world talking about hacking. And then someone brought up biohacking. And I thought to myself, with respect to today's conversation about self talk, that biohacking is when you disrupt a code. And I think that positive affirmations with your self talk, using your inner voice and your outer voice with yourself, first and third person, that's when we disrupt the pattern
Mm,
of the negative things that are being said. You can biohack yourself. You can get
that.
off of that train track that is a train wreck waiting to happen by you misusing your words with yourself. What do you say to yourself within yourself?
Oh, boy, that's so good. That is so good. And so, Coach Greta, let's just say somebody gets your book and they're on day 10
Hmm.
and they might be or whatever well, I don't feel it, or I don't. What should people do when they are doing this inner work and they don't yet see any change on the outside, kind of like your client who said,
That is a great question. What I would recommend is that you keep pressing play.
mm,
You keep pressing play. Why? Because some of us, I know this was true for me years ago, we have been asleep at the wheel for so long. And
mhm,
we are emotionally unavailable, not just to other people, but to yourself. A lot of people aren't feeling it because they don't feel anything.
mm,
They are on autopilot and they have been asleep for so long that you don't even know you're asleep. Why? Because you're listening to the drumbeat of the world, what's on Instagram, what's on TikTok, what's on CNN, what's on the local news, and
mhm.
what's on Netflix. And so after you have drowned out the sound and the feelings that belong to you, and what some people do is they have bought into the feelings and the conversations of other people. So that's why you can't hear or feel this initially. Sometimes you can't feel it initially because your authentic you is buried deep inside yourself. And it's been a long time since you listened to yourself.
Oh, that's so good. And I love that you understand the science behind 21 days to start a new habit. So to create something new. So give us one more, Coach Greta, that people could use. You guys need to go to her website and we're going to give that to you and get this book. This is, I love that you said it's more than just reading. It's practice. It's experiential. You're in it.
Yes. Yes. It says 21-day self-love experience. The experience part is what it's about. It's so about what you experience because that's what you'll remember. Your heart will remember that. Your body remembers that. Your mind remembers that. We were created to have feelings, and it's
Mhm.
important for you to. So I would work with this until, and you do your 21 days and then you start over again and you start because it's taking you as long as it's taking you to be the person that you already are. And wouldn't it be cool for you to take that same kind of devotion and dedication and to change some things and shift some things? And it takes time. It takes
Mhm.
patience, it takes kindness and all of that. But this book is just is I wanted to make it pocket size too, so you could just slip it in a small purse or take it with you on a plane or take it with you to the beach. And I just, that's day 15 talks about loving your inner child.
Oh,
I know I just happened to open it up and that's where it went. Loving your inner child is so important to take care of your inner child. We have inner children, let's be clear. There's your 3-year-old self, your 5-year-old self, your 7-year-old self, your 14-year-old self. And at every one of those phases of our lives, we were having different experiences. And get this, the soul remembers everything.
wow. So
So
true.
even if you don't remember cognitively with your brain, your soul remembers that period of adolescence when you wanted to be accepted by your friends
Mhm.
and they may not have accepted you, or a time when you might have been bullied, a time when you were trying to figure out who you were, or a time when your feet were bigger than the rest of your body and you felt awkward, and just all of that. Like all of that is still with you. So, it's important to love all of your inner children, the different phases of yourself. Many of us haven't always thought so highly of ourselves. We had to
So
catch up with
true.
we might have grown up with acne, or I had my teeth grew in before everything else. So I had people used to call me bunny rabbit because I had big teeth and I had to catch up with my teeth. But, that's just what it is. But I had that relationship with myself in the mirror. So I didn't even remember taking it personally. It's a very interesting thing. But yeah. Um,
That's and here I am. I was tall because for those of you, I'm 5'9" now. But when you are 12 or 13 years old, I remember my brother. My dad was 6'4", my brother's a tall, and I remember my brother said to me, "Constance gonna wear a size 12 shoe like me," and I was like, I started crying. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to wear a 12. So my inner child then probably wasn't feeling great about herself.
yes.
So I love at the end of each chapter you have growth work exercise. That's create.
Yes.
What is that, and why is that necessary?
Growing, I say anything not growing is dying. And if we are not growing, then some part of ourself isn't moving forward. And I'd like to give growth work because we can all use a little growth,
Hmm.
it's just what it is. And even when you're growing up, sometimes people grow so fast they have growing pains.
Yeah.
So I have put growth work at the end of every chapter because it gives you an opportunity to stretch yourself, to grow yourself, to expand yourself, and to have an experience of something that you may not have experienced before. And if you are familiar with growth work, it's an opportunity to take a deeper dive,
Mhm.
because at different stages of our lives, we go through different things. So some things resonate more. I mean, I read certain books repetitively every year. And I'm amazed that every time I read some of these books, it's like I've never read the book before.
Nothing but the
Like,
truth.
what in the world is going on? I've read The Power of Now 1,000 times. And every time I read it, I reach a new level with it.
That's so. Bob Proctor read Think and Grow Rich for 50 years. And
Hmm.
you're so right. We're changing on the inside. So
Yes.
what will people experience? What will begin to happen or be outpictured in their outer lives, Coach Greta, when they consistently do this transformational work?
Oh,
What
you
have been
asked some
some
great questions.
testimonies? Thank you. Hey, I think
Mhm.
I'm pretty good at this.
Yes.
um, what will happen or begin to happen in our lives when we do this transformational work?
The first thing that will begin to happen is you will notice inner peace.
Mm,
Suddenly you're languaging with yourself. You'll notice that there's not a lot of aggravation with yourself and other people. You'll just feel this sense of peace. Now, I do want to warn you that sometimes when people feel peace, they go and create more drama because they have lived such a dramatic life
mm-hmm.
that inner peace is feels scary to them. But you will start to feel a deep seated silence and peace inside yourself. The next thing you're going to feel is inner harmony.
Mm,
You will start to feel harmonious inside yourself. So you won't be going at it with yourself. If you can't find your keys, you'll be at peace about it. And because you're at peace about it, you are in this inner harmonious state, the keys will show up. And ultimately, what you will experience is joyful living. You'll have this unbridled joy that is like, well, why do I feel so good today?
mm.
You know? So you'll move from inner peace to inner harmony to unbridled joy.
Oh, that's good. And so,
Mhm.
Coach Greta, are people really energetically getting in a certain energy or vibration each day? Like if they read the one on inner child, does all of this put you in a different vibration, different energy, which ultimately is the law of attraction, and you'll begin to attract more like things to you?
Absolutely. When I would say to myself in the mirror a long time ago, I am beautiful.
Mm,
I love being with you. Do you know I would leave the house and go somewhere and somebody would say those same things to me? I literally would go from my house to the grocery store and the cashier would say the same thing to myself that I just said to myself.
mm.
And
'Cause
it
you're vibrating it out.
absolutely. And here's the thing, people who we meet are often reflections of us.
Mhm,
So, we I like to say we meet no one but ourselves.
mhm.
And so when you're
That's
meeting
good.
yourself, it's like, wow. And so the more I started being loving with myself and to myself, people outside started reflecting me back to me. And it
Oh,
was
that's
so
good.
beautiful, literally down to the words I would say to myself. They would come to me and say that same thing. They might give me a card and it would have that very thing in it.
So literally what you just shared was you were saying, I am love. I love myself. So when people use your book, they're going to be vibrating that out and
Yes.
feeling that. And it won't be
Yes.
such a struggle from the outside trying to
Yes.
manifest something.
Absolutely. It will be expanding inward where you are um, imagining that you are loved, you are lovable, you are happy, you deserve to be happy, you're special in your own unique way. You are a wonderful person. All these words that you say to yourself and you start believing yourself because it
Mm,
does require your belief.
well,
And that's why, as I told that client from Philly, you want to do this repetitively because you got to buy into it yourself. She wasn't buying into anything that she was saying other than the opposite of what she wanted. She had a lot of conviction about her weight.
yeah. So if this is such exciting news because we actually create our own reality, whatever you want, whoever you want to become. I think this helps people. You've heard of stolen identity.
Hmm.
I think this helps people to really. remember who they are and how powerful they are.
Oh my goodness. It is awakening you to the God presence within you. And how
Ooh,
could
that's
you
good.
not love God inside yourself? Like the more you look in that mirror, you're like, wow, she's a really nice person. She's a really beautiful person. She's kind hearted, she's generous, she's giving, she's thoughtful, she's mindful. I started going, wow. And she has a beautiful smile. I mean, the more I started looking at myself, I'm like, wow, what a nice, kind woman, you know? And I started treating myself like that.
Mm.
And other people started treating me the way I was treating myself. We teach people love to say that quote. We teach people how to treat us. Well, the
Mhm.
best way to teach someone how to treat you is to treat yourself the way you want to be treated. It's not to be
Ooh,
trying to tell them what they ought to do to you. It is for you to do what you need to do with yourself, and then I will model your behavior. That's how it works.
yeah. So good. So good. I don't even know where to stop with you. This is so juicy. This is what we do when we get on the phone.
It
And,
is.
and so, Coach Greta, if anybody lives in Atlanta, you see who this woman is. And tell us about, you don't call it a church. What do you call it?
I call it a spiritual center. You
Okay.
can find me on Sundays at Unity South Atlanta, 7483 Mount Zion Boulevard in Jonesboro. You can also find me online at Coach Greta on Instagram as well as Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn as Greta Counts. And I will tell you this, 90% of my clients do not live in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So know that you do not have to live here to work with me. I have clients in the UK, clients in Bermuda, clients in
Mhm.
Australia, clients in Germany. I have clients all over and of all ages, by the way. I've got millennials, I've got baby boomers, I have Gen X, I have I've coached people as young as 9 years old and as old as 89 years old. So,
Wow.
yeah. Yep.
So what about speaking? You guys hear how great she is. I mean, she's been in corporate America, both private and public sector. So what about speaking to organizations, governmental agencies? I know you've been to the Pentagon, my God.
I have, and I've worked with people at the CDC, and it's just awesome and exciting. I really consider myself a human performance coach. What I know for sure is that I can offer your team, your staff, your employees, your C-level suite uh, professionals tools and techniques to help them navigate and to increase productivity, to grow their market share. I also have a strong sales background. So sales is right up in the mix. But, I went from helping people sell products and services to selling you on you. I can
Yeah.
sell you on you all day long. And so that's the importance of using the mirror to get to know the most important person you will ever meet in your life is yourself.
That makes me want to kiss my own self. Excuse me, I lost
Yes.
myself for a minute.
Yes.
But so what's the best place for them to get the book, Coach Greta?
You know, they can order it from Amazon.com. You can also order it from barnesandnoble.com. And I do want to ask you that once you do order it and you do experience the book, I would love for you to leave a review because that really does matter for other readers who are wondering
Hmm.
about the books. And I think those who have left a review, I thank you very much. But barnesandnoble.com as well as Amazon. You can even go to my website, which is mirrorworkworks.com, and you can place an order from my website,
I love that.
www.mirrorworkworks.com. Mirror Work Works. It really does work, and I get excited about it. I do.
Don't you have some T-shirts or
Yes.
hoodies? Or how can we get those?
Oh my gosh, these can be purchased at the mirrorworkworks.com website. We've got tank tops and t-shirts and hoodies. We've got even those flip flop things. We've got yoga mats and mugs that you can use
Oh,
to drink
wow.
out of. Yeah, we've got fanny packs and all of that. And so, when I was at a conference in Chicago, everybody wanted to buy the hoodies and the t-shirts and the tanks. And the my assistant said to them, but you got to get the book because it's all about you wearing this after you've done your work, you
Yeah,
know? So this is going to help you to practice self-love and to improve your self-talk with yourself. And then you get to wear it as a reminder. And
I
I
love
read
it.
I read somewhere somebody said sometimes to get something off your chest, you have to put something on your chest, right?
Oh man, there she goes again, everybody. That's so profound. Everybody, go to her website, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and get this book. You see, I have it. All of my clients read it. Coach Greta Counts, you are a blessing to the world. The first time I saw her, you guys have heard this. I went to the church. The church is close to my house. I could walk to it if I want to, but you can't do that in 4-inch heels. So I drive. But the first time she was coming as like an interim minister, and I walked in and I heard her speak. I'm like, who is that woman? That's exactly what I said to myself. And I went up to her and I said, you got to be on my show. And that's been years ago.
It has
So
been.
grateful, so thankful. We bless the gift of God in you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for who you are. So, everybody, make sure once you see this or you hear this, share this with a friend. I'm trying to get a million listeners to listen to this. Share it with your coworkers, with your family members, with anybody and with everybody, male or female, to really shift and change their life. Share it on your timelines, on your social media platform when you see the link. And Coach Greta, just thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me. I send you blessings and blessings to everyone who is listening to this recording. We really appreciate you and glad that you could be a part of it. Take care and be
Everybody,
well.
listen to this over and over again and make a decision that this week, your self talk is going to be that this is going to be the beginning of the best years of my life. So, everybody, have a great week.
Yes.